long-term kingdom cycle, where the tales were more concerned with the lives and legends of the mythical and historical kings. I have come to believe that stories are a means to tap into our souls, into our innermost beliefs and thoughts, those feelings held most deeply inside of us. 29 years ago, when my father passed, he passed away unexpectedly, and I had no idea how to grieve. It was my storytelling teacher who inspired me to research the literature of my heritage as a way to connect more deeply to the man I had just lost. It helped so very much, but through the process I realized that I also held on to some very sad memories of a time in my life when my father and I didn't speak much. I wouldn't exactly say that we were estranged or anything, but there was quite a period of time when we couldn't seem to be in the same room together without arguing. So therefore, we didn't spend a lot of time together at all. And I'm grateful that we did come back together after a fashion. And I can recall a number of happy times before he passed. When I came across the next story, I was struck by how perfectly it illustrated the relationship between a father and a daughter, and how well it echoed my own. This particular tale surely eased my heart as I grieved my father's passing, and it is said that every storyteller finds a story that they believe is the story of his or her life. This, then, is mine. The story is Like Meat Loves Salt, and it's from the Irish Tales collection, edited by Henry Glassy and Jimmy Neal Smith. And it was told and written down by Elizabeth Ellis, a renowned storyteller who I had the privilege of seeing just 3 weeks ago. Quite a woman. Like Meat Loves Salt. There once was a king, and he had 3 daughters. And one day he called his oldest to him, and he said, "Daughter, I'm going to the city. What might I bring you home?" "Oh," says she, "I would like a flashing red dress that I might wear to a party." "Aye," says her father, and he sends off the girl, and he calls the second daughter to him. And he says, "Daughter, what might I bring you from the city?" "Oh," says she, "I would like a dashing green dress that I might wear to a party." "Aye," says her father, and sends her off, and he calls his youngest daughter to him. And he says, "Daughter, what might I bring you from town?" "Oh," says she, "Nothing, father. Just bring yourself back safe and sound." "Now," says their father, your sisters have already put in their order. You must be asking me for something. Shall it be a dress or something like that?" "Well," says the youngest daughter, "you might bring me a dress of pure white that I could wear to please you." "Aye," says her father. And off he goes to the city, and he does indeed find a flashing red dress, and a dashing green dress, and a simple dress of pure white. And he took the 3, and he folded them carefully, and he put them in his saddlebags, and he rode on toward home. And he wasn't far from his castle, when in front of him he could see there was a branch that would quite knock the crown from his head if he didn't reach up and grab it. So as he came up to that branch, he reached up and pulled it down. And do you know, it was full of the most beautiful white roses you ever saw. And that king, he took that branch and he rode on toward home, and when he got there, he called his oldest daughter to him. And he said, "Daughter, how much do you love me?" "Oh," says she, "I love you more than all the jewels I could possibly have," for that was what was on her mind. Well, her answer pleased her father, and he went and he got that flashing red dress, and on it he placed one of those beautiful white roses, and he gave it to the girl, and off she went. And he called his second daughter, and he said, "Daughter, how much do you love me?" "Oh," says she, "I love you more than all the sweethearts and suitors I could ever have," for that was what was on her mind. Well, her And so he went and got that dashing green dress, and upon it he laid one of those beautiful white roses and presented it to the girl, and off she went. And then he called his youngest daughter to him, and he was most interested in what this girl would say, for you see, she was the child of his heart. So when she walked in, the king said to her, "How much do you love me?" "Oh," says she, I don't know." "What do you mean?" said her father. "You must know. How much do you love me?" "Oh," says she, I don't know. I just love you. I love you like meat loves salt." "What did you say?" said her father. She said, "I love you like meat loves salt." Well, her answer enraged the king, and he took the daughter and had her locked up in a tall tower for many a year. And the only person she saw was an old woman who would bring her water and food every other day. And there she stayed for years. Well, it so happened that a handsome nobleman came riding by that tower one day, and he looked up at the youngest daughter who was brushing her long locks in the window. When he beheld her face, he quite fell in love. And he scaled that tower, and he rescued the youngest daughter and put her on his saddle, and he took her off to his home, where he married her. Meanwhile, the king grew too old to rule, and so it was decided that he would go live with his oldest daughter and her husband. But she had taken all of his fine things from the castle and sold them, so that she had money to buy herself jewels. And when he realized that, the king knew she did not really love him. So then he went to the home of his second daughter, and she had married a man who didn't like the king. And so the poor king was made to sleep on the floor with the dogs. And he knew that his second daughter didn't really love him. So he left her house, and he went quite mad with grief. And he began wandering about the countryside, and no one knew where he had gone. Well, it so happened that the husbands of the other two sisters declared war on that handsome nobleman. And when the nobleman and the youngest daughter came to her home territory in order to fight the war, the youngest daughter said to her husband, "Husband, I have been a good and faithful wife, have I not?" "Aye," says he. "Well," says she, "might I just cross the battle lines and go and look for my father's home, the place where I grew up, that I might see it one last time?" "Aye," says her husband, "you have been faithful, and I can trust you. Go with God." So off she went, and she went to find the castle, but when she got there, it was all in ruins. There were no walls, there were no rooms, there was nothing. It was all overgrown. It made her heart sore, and as she walked away to go back to her husband, she heard something in the bushes. And it was her father, gone quite mad with grief, wearing a crown of thorns, of blackberry thorns. And she went up to him and she said, "Father," but he didn't recognize her at all. So she knew he was old and sick, and he needed her. So she took him by the hand and brought him back to where her husband's troops were. And they, of course, quite won the war. And when they were done, they took the old king home with them and set him up in beautiful quarters and took fine care of him. Until one night, the youngest daughter went to the cook and she said, "Cook, I would like you to cook the meal tonight without 1 grain of salt." "I'll not be doing that," said the cook. "'Twill ruin the meal." "Oh," says the youngest daughter, "you will do as I say." So the meal was brought out without 1 grain of salt. When the old king took his first bite, he covered his face with his hands and he said, "Oh, I once had a daughter who said she loved me like meat loves salt. I had no idea love another. And I don't know what has happened to her, and I would love to see her before I die. And his youngest daughter went up and peeled the hands away from his face. And she said, Father, and his mind came back to him, and he recognized his beloved daughter, and he sent some servants for his trunk, and in that trunk was that lovely white dress, and he took from it, and under it was that branch of white roses, and you know, they were as fresh and fragrant as the day that he had brought them home. And he gave all the roses and the dress to his daughter, and he said, Daughter, I do not understand. Why have you been so kind to me when I was so cruel to you? And his daughter looked up at him and said, Well, Father, it's you who have taught me